Let's talk about Team Sunak now. Several ministers have been asked to leave by Rishi Sunak. A string of ministers asked to leave by the new Prime Minister. Those who've been asked to go: Jacob Rees-Mogg, a Business Secretary, and Brandon Lewis has quit as the Justice Secretary. Radhika is now joining us with more details. Radhika, who's going, who's staying? Break it down for us.
Looks like Jeremy Hunt will stay as the State Exchequer as we expected, and that continues to remain. I'm just going through my list. So quite a few people asked to leave by Rishi Sunak. He's at his job as soon as he's taken over as Prime Minister. So there are 4 names which are confirmed. Vicky Ford, the Development Minister, Work and Pensions Minister Chloe Smith goes. When I say goes, they've resigned from their post. And that is clearly after a phone call they have received from the newly elected Prime Minister Rishi Sunak after he's taken over at number 10. Also on the list include the Business Secretary. Ben Wallace is likely to stay, and that's an important development because he was one of the key candidates, also a potential candidate to become the Prime Minister. He was seen as one of the favorite of the Tories, but of course he had expressed interest that he wants to stay as the Business Secretary, so he remains. So just putting it into context for our viewers, Rishi Sunak has taken over as Prime Minister officially in Britain, and he is forming his cabinet. Rishi reshuffle is a very trending term at the moment in the UK. So a lot of members of the Liz Truss cabinet are now have been asked to leave because Rishi is bringing in, let's put it this way, Rishi is bringing in his men into the cabinet to try and carry out his tasks within the Conservative Party. Of course, the Conservative Party, as we know, has been divided, has been partly split between Rishi Sunak and Boris Johnson. Many supporters of Boris Johnson ended up voting for Rishi Sunak to back him. But now clearly he is bringing in a few people. No surprises yet. Boris Johnson not in the cabinet. Liz Truss not in the cabinet. That isn't a surprise either. Penny Mordaunt not yet in the cabinet. We don't know whether that will change.
Radhika, interestingly, even as Team Sunak wasn't announced, James Cleverly made a call to External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, and S. Jaishankar tweeted about it, that he had a conversation with him regarding several aspects, including Ukraine. What indication does it give us?
That he potentially is looking at India as a very important nation, as a nation. Also potentially the fact that just after Liz Truss resigned, Mr. Jaishankar and the Indian ministry shared an official statement, especially with regard to free trade agreement, to say that they are waiting and watching to see who takes over before India can progress on further negotiations on the free trade agreement or the free trade deal that India and Britain is signing. So these are the indications that India is a very important nation. Perhaps also the fact that Rishi Sunak is now sitting on the hot seat as Prime Minister. There are indications that people want to continue their day-to-day tasks as if it is work as usual. But clearly, some heads rolling in the UK, especially from the British Parliament, and newer faces are likely to come about to take shape in the new, what is being called as Rishi reshuffle.
And the most important phase that will be watched out for will probably be Jeremy Hunt, because at the end of the day, the first task for the new Prime Minister is clearing up the economic mess.
Very interestingly, somebody who is an economist said that with Jeremy Hunt as the Chancellor of Exchequer and with Rishi Sunak as the Prime Minister of Britain, it feels like 2 grown-ups are running the government, and it feels like 2 people who know the economy and who understand how the markets work are going to be running the economy. Jeremy Hunt, of course, has not officially been retained. We haven't heard a word yet that Jeremy Hunt will stay on as the Chancellor of the Exchequer or will stay in number 11 Downing Street, but we haven't also heard that he has been asked to leave. Maybe that's a clear indication that he's going to stay. And Jeremy Hunt, just after Liz Truss's mistakes, as has been called, actually reversed some decisions which have helped the economy breathe a bit. So given that credibility, Jeremy and Rishi Sunak also share a very good rapport, and given that perhaps the two are going to stay as Prime Minister and as Finance Secretary respectively. Interestingly, these are among the two richest MPs that the Conservative Party has.
All right, Radhika Iyer, they're reporting on the latest developments that are currently underway after Rishi Sunak was officially appointed the Prime Minister. Now he's bringing together his team, and there are certain faces that are likely to stay, like Jeremy Hunt, as she's pointing out, but the official list is yet to be revealed by the new Prime Minister.